there are armored vehicles driving through Washington, D.C. It's not a parade, at least not an official one. Let's start with this clip. Maybe folks have seen this. He's gone viral as the Sandwich Man. It turns out he is former Air Force, former DOJ. He was basically getting in the face of some of these occupiers of D.C., military occupiers of D.C., and maybe stylistically people have an issue, but I think when you offer an officer like a cup of coffee or a donut or a sandwich, it seems like you're doing a nice thing. Apparently, they took issue with it.
How else do you get a sandwich at the wee hours of night?
Exactly. This is clip number 7.
I want to give you food. Are you hungry?
Really, Reno 911. It really is.
It is amazing.
They got like 7 guys running after him.
I mean, just a great sense of hospitality. That's DC hospitality for you. You got to get food and drinks for folks.
Well, it turns out they were obviously pretty upset because they had specifically requested their bread be toasted. And when the guy shows up, it's not toasted. You get pissed. They charged him with a felony. And a judge threw it out, I guess, yesterday or last evening, basically saying, no, it's not a felony assault.
The judge threw it right in his chest.
Exactly. So good for him. And but here is other residents of Washington, D.C. greeting this sort of array of National Guard and federal, prison guards and DEA and FBI, all geared up apparently to hand out traffic violations or whatnot. Here is, watch this clip.
Here's a real cop. He has a badge. He has insignia. He has his name on his chest. That's a real cop.
Fuck no.
Go
He
home.
harasses citizens. He's not a real cop.
As someone who's been booed at work, that sucks.
Yeah.
The community seems very happy to have them there.
That is 2 nights ago, and the size has like tripled of the crowds too, since like last night.
That's awesome.
They're out now, protesting. Now, you guys played the Mark Wayne Mullen stuff yesterday, right?
No.
No,
You didn't?
we played we didn't. I don't think that had happened yet. He said he's not afraid. He doesn't buckle himself in.
Oh, we gotta pull that for later in the program. But here is James Comer arguing that Washington, D.C. is just the beginning. And we should say, he said this yesterday on Newsmax, right around the time that Pam Bondi claimed that she had the authority to fire the police chief, to put the head of the DEA in as the acting police chief, and that she could unilaterally decide, after the D.C. City Council had voted to make D.C. a sanctuary city, that she could unilaterally decide it's no longer a sanctuary city. This is in court today, but here is James Comer saying he wants to do this all over the place.
carjacking, we have people mugging people at all hours of the day, and it's out of control. So the president had to send in the National Guard.
Right.
And I think that you've seen just in the last 24 hours a huge decline in crime. And we're going to support this. We're going to support doing this in other cities if it works out in Washington, D.C. And again, it's unfortunate, but we spend a lot on our military. Our military has been in many countries around the world for the past 2 decades, walking the streets, trying to reduce crime in other countries. We need to focus on the big cities in America now, and that's what the president's doing.
Yeah, I mean, is that what the troops have been doing? Just walking around different cities across the globe and reducing crime? I mean, tell that to...
Yeah, we reduced crime in Afghanistan.
We reduced a lot of crime in Iraq by killing up to a million people.
They just walk around in those bobby hats, actually. But what's... There's a couple of things here. Obviously, a week ago, crime was down 26% year over year. And a reminder, last year was a 30-year low in violent crime in Washington, D.C. So it's down 26% from its 30-year low from last year. So I don't know what it's dropped to in the past 2 days. But that would be pretty impressive if it had dropped even that much more, because you're just... Crime is at below a 30-year, longer than a 30-year low in D.C. at least. And
across the country, I mean, violent crime has declined when comparing January through May 2024 to 2025 by nearly 11%. Property crime over 12%. This is a national trend, as James Comer talks about taking this police state stuff national.
And we should say, for the 20 years that James Comer talks about, I know that there have been eras where we have been saying this is a problem. This is going to blow back. The military equipment, there was a program during the Bush years to sell extra military equipment to police departments. The idea that now we're talking about deploying military to city streets around the country. It's sort of the culmination of what the Republican Party has been doing for 20 years. And we should also note that the Democrats have also failed in this accord. Do we have that graph of how people think crime is?
Yeah.
Put this up. This is sort of stunning. It shows, and we'll probably reference this again later, but it shows that since 1990, that's the question. Since 1990, do you has crime increased since 1990?
Since 1990, would you say murder rates in U.S. cities have? That's the prompt.
Right. And 34% say increased a lot. 20% say increased a little. That's 54%. 9% say stay the home. So we're at 60, it stayed about the same. That's 63. The fact of the matter is, and then 12% decreased a little, 9% decreased a lot. Those 9% are the only people who got this right. Murder rates in U.S. cities have decreased dramatically since 1990. I mean, dramatically.
Yep.
And no one seems to know it. And part of that is because the media, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
And there's a value to being able to show heinous crimes and push crime in news. You see sort of like, even if they're not doing it for ideological reasons, local news does it because it's titillating. But this is a failure of Democrats, afraid to sort of like be pegged as being soft on crime. They can't even bring themselves to tell the truth about what's happening with crime and take credit, even though maybe, I mean, personally, I think it was the getting rid of leaded gasoline. There's a lot of evidence that had a lot to do with it. But regardless, there is a perfectly compelling position to stake out here, and Democrats don't do that. Even
No.
the mayor of D.C., her first reaction was like, well, we could use a couple more, 100 more cops because of cuts to our budget. The instinctive move of Democrats to sort of be afraid of being seen as soft on crime, instead of just telling Americans the truth that, like, we live in a pretty safe country and your cities are pretty safe overall. This is a failure of Democrats.
Yeah, and when you talk about how Republicans lead the press and get what they want out there, and the Democrats only react, that's one of the dynamics at play here. But it's not just the traditional media. Like we talked to Gil Duran about the network state and how these big tech Silicon Valley overlords are obsessed with the idea of cleansing our cities of homeless people, of crime in their viewpoint.
They led the recall against Chesaboudin.
Yeah, and they are pumping propaganda about urban crime that's heavily racialized to the top of people's social media feeds.
Yep.
And that's a huge reason why the Republicans see an opportunity with this narrative, and that the Democrats also just have been so cowardly on it. It's not just the traditional media covering these stories either. A lot of this stuff is even less verifiable and sometimes staged, but it has this corrosive effect on people's opinion about urban centers. Even though when we see that per capita violent crime is higher in redder, more rural states and their city areas.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.